Hey guys, it's Bridget with San Diego Seed Company. Today I'm going to be talking about succession planting. If you guys follow me online, attend my classes, or read any of our blogs, you know that I talk about succession planting all the time because it is the difference between kind of growing a little bit here and there to really stocking your pantry with as many fresh goodies from your garden as possible. I'm going to get into all the details about how you can succession plant for your fall garden, but before I do that, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button so you're notified anytime we put out a video. Okay, so I'm going to start at the very basics here. What is succession planting? So basically, succession planting is planting so that you have crops ready in succession, both for planting and harvesting. Now, the idea is simple. If you plant all of your cabbage pack of seeds at once, well, then you're gonna have a lot of cabbage, and then you're gonna get tired of eating that cabbage, and you're gonna be giving away cabbage to your neighbors, and then your neighbors are gonna be calling you the crazy cabbage lady. Trust me, it's happened to me before. Instead of having 12, 15, 20 heads of cabbage ready at once, you want one or two so that you can make some delicious recipes, and then you want to wait a few weeks and have one or two more. How do you make that happen? Well, you make that happen by planting successively. So you don't plant the whole pack of seeds all at once. Now, I don't expect any of you guys to keep this information in your head on cue at all times, and that is why we put it in our calendar. So this is 2022's calendar. We're getting ready to print 2023. All of our calendars will have the succession planting guide information right here. Now, if you don't have a calendar, have no fear. It's also on our pack of seeds. It says right there, succession. Meaning, what is the time delay that you plant more seeds for that particular crop? So for fennel, you're gonna plant it every 21 days. The idea is that is an adequate amount of time in between planting that you'll have plants ready at all stages of the growth pattern. So simple idea is I go out to my garden, I've got a row of cabbages planted, and then I have another row and I have another row, however many rows of cabbages or any crop that you have planted in your garden. At any given time, there are some that are ready for harvest, and then there are some that are really close behind that, and so on, all the way down to the baby stage. And the reason you do that is so that you don't have to harvest everything at once and then have empty space in your garden while you're waiting for other crops to get up and growing. How does that work on a practical sense? Well, I'm actually gonna do a quick little run through of how you would do this. Let's say you go online and you buy our amazing cauliflower pelleted seed, and you want to grow this, and you love this, and you want to have cauliflower rice all season long. But you don't want to have to make 7 pots of it at once. You want to just make a little bit at a time. So you want to have 1 or 2 heads of this cauliflower ready at any given point. You look to the back and you see that it says 21 days succession. That means I'm going to plant my first round of these cauliflower seeds now, and then I'm going to plant another round 21 days from now, and then another round 21 days from now, and so on and so forth. We actually have on our website a wicked cool Excel sheet that you can download, and you can actually just put the data in, and it will automatically calculate for you what dates you need to plant those crops at. So today is September, 1st of September, let's say. I'll give you a little tip of what I like to do. I like to use popsicle sticks, and I write the date on them. So I will do amazing cauliflower, September 1st, boom. I know I'm gonna plant this row here with these cauliflower seeds. I know I need to plant 21 days from now, so 3 weeks basically. I'm gonna put on here, if it's September 1st, I'm gonna put on September 22nd, 21 days from now, boom. I know these guys I'm going to plant 21 days from now. 21 days after that, boom, so on and so forth. You get the point. The point is, I'm gonna have plants that are constantly ready to plant out into the garden. Another really big benefit of succession planting is mulch happens. Things happen in the garden. You lose plants, things don't, possum comes by, digs up something, whatever. You have backups. You've got backups to plop in the garden. As soon as a crop either fails or is done producing, you can pull that out, put the new plant in, and you're ready to roll. That is what succession planting is all about. Now, this is the practical part of it, the actual seed starting. Now, with something like cauliflower, you start it in trays in a protected area to actually plant out. If you're doing something like, let's say, arugula, where you can easily direct sow it into the garden, you would direct sow it. You flip around on the back every 2 weeks, every 14 days. Now, how much do you direct sow? That's totally up to you and how much you want to eat. But in every packet, we try to give you at least, for the average backyard gardener, we try to give you 3 to 4 successions worth. So in here, you would split this up, to 3 or 4 different divisions of that seed, divide it up, and then plant that out. 2 weeks later, plant out a little bit more. The idea is that as that arugula starts to putter out, go to flower, get bitter, whatever, you have a younger crop directly behind that ready to harvest. That's what succession planting is. Now, this is kind of the boring part of it, with the seeds and the trays. Well, actually, it's not boring. It's fabulous. But let's go actually look in the garden, and I'll kind of give you an idea of what the succession planting would look if you were turning over your fall garden and out there and starting to plan what the succession rotation would look like. So let's go. Okay, so now I'm in the garden, which looks really bad right now. But it is turnover time. It is the fall. I'm ripping everything out. I'm doing some massive weeding. We're gonna improve some things here in the garden. So don't judge me, okay? This is what a garden looks like in between seasons when you're doing some massive work. But I wanna talk about what you should be thinking of when you do your succession planting and just walk through some of the thought processes. So let's pretend here that this is all pretty and perfect and ready to go, okay? It's all ready, and I've got one row here, irrigation line goes this way. Another row here, irrigation line goes this way. So I've got 2 rows. If we're talking about cauliflower and succession planting it, I would start the seed now, and I would get that ready to plant out anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks from now. It should be up to size to plant out into the garden. Potentially, what I would do is maybe plant only half of this row of that cauliflower, keeping in mind that I know 21 days after I plant that, in theory, if all goes right, I will have another area of cauliflower that I can plant because I will have plants that will have grown up to a size to be ready. Then, 21 days after that, I've got this portion of the row that is ready to be planted. 21 days after that, you get the point. Then I have this area that can be planted. By the time I plant this area, the first cauliflower that I have planted is going to be done. I will have harvested it. The plants look terrible. They get ripped out. Guess what? That space does not get wasted because in my trays over there, as I showed you, we have plants up and ready to go that are to the size that you want to plant out and can be planted in that area. The whole point is to waste no space in the garden and always have plants that are ready to go in the ground to make up for the moment that you harvest something or it's done producing. You rip it out, you don't waste that space, you have plants that can go in the ground. Okay. Now let's talk about spacing a little bit. With something like cauliflower, it needs 18 to 24 inches of space to really grow big. This area from there to there is about 28 feet, so that means I can fit in, I don't know, do the quick math. A few of them. 14. I don't know math. Good thing my videographer does. I can fit in 14 here, okay? Maybe you don't have space for 14 cauliflower heads, and maybe you don't even want that much cauliflower. I totally understand. Maybe you have 1 pot. But when that pot is finished and you've harvested that cauliflower head, you want to have a new plant ready to put into that pot so that it can produce delicious cauliflower that is going to be ready for you and you have a constant supply of food. So this is how really, if I can just get a little, emotional or dorky here, this is how it used to be done back in the day when people relied on their garden or their farm to produce food for their family, and that was all they had. Before we could go to stores and before we could just easily get a peach in January from Chile, you had to succession plant all of your crops and be very careful about the way in which you planted out so your family always had food. Now, I know we don't live in that day and age, and maybe some of you guys aren't interested in being that serious about your gardening. But if you are, I really encourage you to think about it, plan it, use our succession planting guide so that you constantly have delicious organic produce to provide for you and your family. Okay, so let me give you one more example of why succession planting is crucial and what it actually looks like in the garden, and that's in regards to carrots. So follow me. So I'm just gonna talk about, oh, we're still rolling, just kidding. Okay, so we've got these 2 rows here that I planted with carrot seed successively. So instead of planting both of these whole 2 rows with carrot seed so that I have so many carrots ready all at once that I'm having to give them away, I don't have refrigerator space, I'm having to freeze them, I planted them successively so they would be ready over time. You can see that I've already harvested carrots out of this row and this row. We've got some little remnants here, some little guys. So these have already been harvested, and as you come down here, you can see more mature ones. So I've got huge ones here that are ready to be harvested. This whole row is ready to be harvested, and I've been eating carrots all summer long. I've never gone without a carrot in my salad. I've been enjoying juicing them, making carrot fries, which are the best, by the way. And I haven't had to go without having carrots for a period of time because there wasn't any in the garden. Because I planted some, waited a few weeks, planted a few more, waited a few weeks, planted a few more, I have had them ready all summer long. And the space that it takes is very little. We're talking 2 rows. The biggest thing that you need to think about with succession planting is making sure you plan. And as I mentioned, we have that wicked cool Excel sheet you can download. You can put in all of your information, what the crop is, days of maturity. It'll auto-calculate for you when you want to plant it, and just follow through with that. And you will be so surprised at how productive your garden, your patio, your backyard, or your farm can be if you succession plant your crops.